गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दना मृतजनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दना भजनरञ्जना यमुनातीरा वनचारी यमुनातीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुनातीरा वनचारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय गौरांगी बेंगलूरीश्वर गौरांगी बेंगलूरीश्वर गौरांगी जय जय ज्ञाता जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय सुदर्शना जय निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय अनंत देव जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रीलदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। मायापुर श्री नवद्वीप धाम की जय। मथुरा धाम की जय। द्वारका धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। गौरभक्त प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Harihi Om Tat Sat. So Hare Krishna devotees, welcome for today's morning Srimad Bhagavatam at ISKCON Seshadripuram. So today we will be discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam 4th canto, 19th chapter, verse 39 through 42. So we are coming to the end of this chapter. The chapter is entitled King Prithu's 100 horse sacrifices. 4th chapter is entitled The Creation of the Fourth Order. So we will read the verses and the translations, and we will then the purports, and then we will discuss. 4.19.39 Maitreya Uvacha Ittam Saloka Guruna Samadishto Vishampatihi Tatacha Kritva Vatsalyam Mago Napi Cha Sandade. Word by word meaning. Maitreya Uvacha, the great sage Maitreya continued to speak. Ittam, thus Sa, King Prithu, Loka Guruna, by the original teacher of all people, Lord Brahma, Samadishtaha, being advised, Vishampatihi, the king, master of the people, Tata, in that way, Cha, also, Kritva, having done, Vatsalyam, affection, Magona, with Indra, Api, even, Cha, also, Sandade, concluded peace. Translation. The great sage Maitreya continued, when King Prithu was thus advised by the supreme teacher Lord Brahma, he abandoned his eagerness to perform yajnas and with great affection concluded a peace with King Indra. Next verse. Kritava Bhrutasnanaya Prithve Bhuri Karmane Varan Daduste Varada Yetad Barhisi Tarpitaha. Word by word meaning. Krita, having performed. Abhakrita Snanaya, taking a bath after the sacrifice. Prithave, onto King Prithu. Bhuri Karmane, famous for performing many virtuous acts. Varan, benedictions. Daduhu, gave. Te, all of them. Varadaha, the demigods, bestowers of benedictions. Ye, who. Tat Barhisi, in the performance of such a yajna. Tarpitaha, became pleased. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. After this, Prithu Maharaja took his bath, which is customarily taken after the performance of a yajna, and received the benedictions and due blessings of the demigods, who were very pleased by his glorious activities. Purport. Yajna means Lord Vishnu. For all yajna is meant to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Vishnu, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu. Since the demigods automatically become very pleased with the performance of sacrifice, they bestow benedictions upon the executors of yajnas. When one pours water on the root of a tree, the branches, trunks, twigs, flowers and leaves are all satisfied. Similarly, when one gives food to the stomach, all parts of the body are rejuvenated. In the same way, if one simply satisfies Lord Vishnu by the performance of yajna, one satisfies all the demigods automatically. In turn, the demigods offer their benedictions to such a devotee. A pure devotee, therefore, does not ask benedictions directly from the demigods. His only business is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, he is never in need of those things supplied by the demigods. Next verse. Vipraha satya sisastastaha shraddaya labda dakshinaha ashisho yuyujuhu kshatar adi rajaya satkritaha. Word by word meaning. Vipraha, all the Brahmanas, Satya, true, Ashisaha, whose benedictions, Tushtaha, being very satisfied, Shraddaya, with great respect, Labda Dakshinaha, who obtained rewards, Ashishaha, benedictions, Yuyujuhu, offered, Kshataha, O Vidura, Adi Rajaya, upon the original king, Satkritaha, being honored. Translation. With great respect, the original king Prithu offered all kinds of rewards to the Brahmanas present at the sacrifice. Since all these Brahmanas were very much satisfied, they gave their heartfelt blessings to the king. The last verse. Tvaya hutha mahabaho sarva eva samagataha pujita dhana manabhyam Pitur Deva Rishi Manavaha. Word by word meaning. Tvaya, by you, Ahutaha, were invited, Mahabaho, O great mighty armed one, Sarve, all, Eva, certainly, Samagataha, assembled, Pujitaha, were honored, Dhana, by charity, Manabhyam, by and by respect, Pitur, the inhabitants of Pitruloka, Deva, demigods, Rishi, great sages, Manavaha, as well as common men. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All the great sages and Brahmanas said, O mighty king, by your invitation, all classes of living entities have attended this assembly. They have come from Pitruloka and the heavenly planets, and great sages as well as common men have attended this meeting. Now all of them are very much satisfied by your dealings and your charity towards them. Purport. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purports for the 4th canto, 19th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled King Prithu's 100 Horse Sacrifices. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधु भयेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने. नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंदा. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So we will discuss this particular verse. So here the background, now the particular verse what we were doing, I'll just read the translation of the first verse once again. So the verse which we are dealing today, verse number 39, the translation is like this. The great sage Maitreya continued, when King Prithu was thus advised by the Supreme Lord Brahma, he abandoned his eagerness to perform yajnas and with great affection concluded a peace with King Indra. So there has to be a background because this seems to be continuing from the previous verse where it is saying, when King Prithu was thus advised by their supreme teacher Lord Brahma. So what is the background why Lord Brahma advised the King Prithu to stop this yajna? So we all know this entire chapter is about King Prithu performing the 100 horse sacrifices. So the background also was Mother Earth, because of the atrocities of the living entities on the planet who are not performing any yajnas and who are very irreligious and not performing their duties. She actually hid away all the resources of the earth and put all the living entities in great difficulties. Therefore, King Prithu, being the king who is the protector of all the living entities on the planet, he actually immediately understood what is the cause of this, and he actually chastised Mother Earth and tried to get all the resources for all the living entities so that they can live peacefully. So in that process, he does that, and then Mother Earth also says, you initiate these activities so that the whole consciousness of the entire universe becomes okay. One of her requests, as a result, Prithu Maharaj actually performs a lot of these sacrifices, and one of that is this 100 horse sacrifices or Ashwamedha Yajna. So now while doing that, King Prithu, we all know, is actually an incarnation, a Shakti Aveshya avatar of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is very nicely performing this Ashwamedha Yajnas, 100 of them. So, we are in this material world, and whenever we do something wonderful, people always immediately become agitated that there are other people who feel that this is a competition to them. Then my glories or my power will be taken away by the other person. So that happens, says right from the Brahma Loka to the lowest planetary system. This is the nature of material world, and therefore Lord Indra becomes insecure. He starts feeling that Prithu Maharaj will take away my position as Lord Indra, because Lord Indra is supposed to be the king of the entire 14 planetary systems. So he was thinking Prithu Maharaj, who is right now in the earth planet, and he's having so much powers, and he's going to complete this 100 horse power. Actually, I think one of the qualification to become Indra is to perform 100 horse sacrifices. So Indra, having done that, has come to that position. Now Prithu Maharaj is now completed 99 horse sacrifices. He is now about to start his 100th horse sacrifices. And therefore he will become equal and become a competitor, or maybe he will become the Indra next, or rather he will defeat me and he will take over my position. This is Indra's thought, and therefore he is trying to somehow stop this sacrifice, and he does a lot of irreligious activities. He acts like a saint and tries to steal and things like that he does. And as a result of Indra's activities today in this material world, we can see a lot of these bogus gurus. Because Indra, actually being lusty, being envious and all that, but he acted like he's a saintly person with saffron. So that started a parampara of these bogus gurus. So, and therefore you see today also there are so many so-called realized persons who are in different gears, even in saffron dress, and trying to cheat people with different concocted philosophies, and in many ways they are simply cheating and exploiting the common people. So this is something which unfortunately started with Indra, as been explained in Srimad Bhagavatam in the earlier verses. So nonetheless, that has happened, and as a result, because he was trying to do all of these things, King Vena's son was chasing him, they were trying to attack, and there's some little bit of altercations happen. And twice he does this. They catch hold of him, they get hold of the things, and then again he does all these things. At that time, the Brahmanas who are performing the yajnas, they say, because Indra has already been engaging in these kind of misleading activities, irreligious activities, he's already lost a lot of his power. And now we will chant very strong mantras which were never chanted before, and bring him to this place, and then we will cast him into the fire. So we will destroy Indra. So this is the Brahmana's affirmation to Prithu Maharaj. So when they were trying to initiate these mantras, their Lord Brahma appears, and he tries to make them understand, what are you doing? Indra is also part and parcel of the Lord, and all the other demigods who are all you are trying to please are also part and parcel of Indra. Therefore, where is the question of killing Indra? But of course, I do understand he has committed all of these heinous things, because of which now he has started a lot of more irreligious things. And by you are trying to continue doing more, attacking him and trying to make him insecure, he may do more and more of these things. So let us not get into this competitive spirit. So he is actually advising Prithu Maharaj. Maybe he could have even advised Indra that why are you doing this? But he chose to advise Prithu Maharaj. Maybe he thought Prithu Maharaj is more sane, and at this point in time that he will be able to understand and act in a level-headed way, than because Indra is very disturbed right now. So he is telling him, why don't you stop all these things? It's okay. What is the point? Right? Why are these yajnas performed? Nonsense. So you can stop this and let Indra be. What is your problem? Why you want to compete with him? Kind of a thing that Brahma is advising. Lord Brahma is advising Prithu Maharaj. And in this section, what we are seeing now is what happened post that. Immediately, when King Prithu was thus advised by the supreme teacher Lord Brahma, he abandoned his eagerness to perform yajnas and with great affection concluded a peace with King Indra. See, this is very important. So in material world, we are always we are always in a these kind of insecurity, anxiety, the propensity to lord over everything, retain power or take over power, envy, pride, all these things are very much intertwined into the three modes of material nature, and therefore we are all caught up in this thing. But what do we learn from Srimad Bhagavatam is how in this material world, how we take the instructions of the acharyas, of the spiritual master, and try to rectify our situation. So here Prithu Maharaj, 99 horse sacrifice, Ashwamedha Yajna is not an ordinary thing. And why not just one more I will actually complete and I will become the biggest or the most powerful. Already he is, that's a different story. But then these are subtle things which comes into our mind that we need to be in this karma kanta, do more and more things. But here Prithu Maharaj, he immediately accepts the order or the advice of, he is saying the supreme teacher, it is being mentioned, Lord Brahma. So this is very important. Sometimes we don't realize truly what is beneficial for us. While these qualities push us to do it and we also do it, but if you are always looking to follow the instructions of the spiritual master, then we are saving ourselves from such great dangers. Yes, we may possibly, by doing that we may achieve some short-term gains. Like, in this case, Prithu Maharaj, 100 sacrifices is better than 99. And maybe he will get more benedictions. He will, equal Indra, and maybe he can become Indra. These things are all there in the future, whatever can happen. But it is not simply about these things which are again temporary. If after 100, if that is the ultimate, then why Indra, having done 100 already, why is he in this uncomfortable situation? Why is he anxious? Why is he insecure? So in this material world, whatever we achieve, that doesn't mean that is going to be our topmost perfection. Because material world, it's like this, the desire and the lust and the situation keeps on coming like waves. And Bhagavad Gita also it is mentioned. Arjuna says, there is no stopping to all these things. There is always, why not the next one? Why not the next one? Why not the next one? So the desires are like waves. They keep coming again and again. They are receding. They never recede. The waves never stop in the ocean. They don't say, okay, it has become 11 o'clock. Let me go for some rest. Tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock I can start my waves again. No, it doesn't happen like that. They are 24/7 coming. So there is no question of satisfaction in this material world. So therefore, here Prithu Maharaja is able to understand that, and here Lord Brahma is also saying that, the next verse he will say, if you see, Lord Brahma is actually, Lord Brahma is actually saying there, what is the real purpose of all the, the yajnas. Actually, there are, karma kanda is one thing, but the purpose, the real spiritual life is not karma kanda. The idea is to satisfy Lord Vishnu, not for these benefits, but to go back to Godhead. So when this is the situation, why are you actually extending these yajnas? This is the argument put forth by Lord Brahma, which he understands immediately. So he says, yes, I am okay. I don't want to get into this competitive spirit, and I am perfectly fine to give Indra his space. So this is where it says he made peace with Lord Indra. Therefore he said, okay, you continue to be the boss. I am okay. I have no problem. I will stop this yajna. So it's Prabhupada is writing here, right? If you see the next verse, that is saying, we'll come to the next verse and the details, but in the meantime, so this is the background, and this is why Brahma advised Prithu Maharaj, and here in this verse we are also understanding Prithu Maharaj, such an elevated personality, is actually immediately accepting the instructions of the spiritual master, and also understanding the purpose very clearly, why that is what he is doing is not very important, and understands why Lord Brahma's words are actually true. So this is up to Prithu Maharaj stopping this yajna and making peace with Lord Indra. The next verse is the other aspect where Prabhupada, this is the only where in these 4 verses that we are discussing, this is the only verse where Prabhupada is actually giving a purport. We will read that purport, the 40th verse. The translation is, after this Prithu Maharaj took his bath, which is customarily taken after the performance of a yajna, and received the benedictions and due blessings of the demigods, who were very pleased by his glorious activities. So there Prabhupada is writing, yajna means Lord Vishnu. For all yajnas is meant to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now this section is actually a replication of the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Sorry, the 4th chapter, where third chapter, where it is dealt with in the Karma Yoga chapter. What are these yajnas, why it should be performed, and all these aspects. So here we will see a couple of verses which actually relate directly to this verse that we are saying. So there in the 9th verse, this discussion starts. The 9th verse, where it is mentioned, Yajnartha karmano anyatra loka ayam karma bandhanaha tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duty for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage. That is why here Prabhupada is writing, Yajna means Lord Vishnu. For all Yajna is meant to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu. Since the demigods automatically becomes very pleased with the performance of sacrifice, they bestow benedictions onto the executors of yajna. So here it is clearly said, work done for the sacrifice, as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise work causes bondage in the material world. Therefore these yajnas, are part of this karma kanda activities, where a living entity is coming to this material world because they had developed some desires to enjoy independent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because of this desire to lord it over material nature, that the Lord says, he is saying in the 10th verse, he is saying, Sahayajnyaha prajaha shrutva puro vacha prajapatihi anena prasavish yadvam yesavo astva istakama dukh. He is saying, in the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods along with sacrifices for Vishnu and blessed them by saying, be thou happy by this yajna, sacrifice, because in its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. So, initially the living entities, because they wanted to lord it over material nature and be independent of Krishna, Krishna was so merciful. So he is saying, okay, if that is what is your aim, I will create a separate world where you can actually try to experience these things that you are independent of me. Well, in reality it is not the case, but since you are thinking something like that is true, I will create a place where you can imagine yourself to be like that. That is where we come into this material world and put it to this illusion that I am the doer. And there when we come, but we know this is not the permanent situation. We need to actually come to this point of, in this word here it is liberation. That means come out of our illusion. But right now we are in illusion. So he says, okay, you are in that condition, you go down there and you satisfy your desires, but along with it, you have to do these yajnas. By performing these yajnas, of course, because whatever is there, these are not, you are thinking, I am independent, I will do all of these things, I am the Lord of all nature, all that be, but that is not true. I am creating this world, and therefore I have to make provisions for making whatever your desires to come true also. Like even though I am thinking I am the doer, or at least I want to think, okay, fine, but Krishna says that is not possible. Krishna knows that is not possible. So he mercifully says, okay, I will arrange all those things. You can imagine you are the doer, but actually I will do it for you. But your desire that I am the Lord, okay, think like that and enjoy. So he is actually making these provisions for all his subordinates to come and facilitate the desires of the living entities. Therefore, he says, I am sending for these men and along with the demigods and all that. So you perform these yajnas which satisfy the demigods, and the demigods will fulfill your desires. So that is the arrangement. So if you perform, and then the demigods, this yajnas clearly is mentioned is for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, not for the demigods. So when you perform these yajnas, the demigod says, okay, you have done your job, and my job is to actually provide these facilities for you, so they provide. But in the process, that these living entities get what they want and they are enjoying their material life, and to that extent their negative karmas are actually avoided. So there are many things, right? When you want to build a house, for example, when you are building a house, you are destroying whatever nature was there at that spot where the house is coming up. Therefore, there is so much vegetation, there are so many living entities living on the mud, just like this earthworm and so many other things which live in that mud. Many of them would have been disturbed because of our desire to construct a specific place just for us to live. So now, therefore, they say, okay, after you complete this house, there are some prescribed yajnas which can be performed there, which they sort of neutralize the bad effects of having constructed the house there. Otherwise, we will get negative karma, and it may pull us down from our current position as a human being. We may tomorrow possibly become an earthworm or whatever. It's possible. Therefore, these yajna sort of neutralizes, gives some protection to gives some compensation to those which are affected, and also protects the person who undertook these activities following the regulative principles. So that is the purpose of these yajnas, and therefore Krishna is saying that yajnas have to be performed. That is all, as long as oneness is situated in this material karma kanda activities. That means one who follows the scriptures but is still in the path of dharma, artha and kama. But ultimately it should lead to moksha, liberation, which is what is being talked about here. Even Brahma is asking him to stop, because now you go to that point of liberation rather than being in this dharma, artha, kama level, which is what Prithu Maharaj immediately accepts and stops this yajna. And it is said next verse, Devan bhavaya tanena te deva bhavan bhava yutan vaha parasparam bhava yantaha shreya param avapshyata. The demigods, being pleased by sacrifices, will also please you, and thus by cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign for all. So the process is, by performing these yajnas, the demigods will actually return their favors, and therefore there is cooperation. You perform yajnas, demigods having supervised, yes, these people are doing as per the scriptures, and accordingly they reward the living entity for whatever desires they have, which is again regulated desires. Ishtan bhogan hi vo deva dasyante yajna bhavitaha tair dattan aprada yo bhumte stena eva saha. In charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods, being satisfied with the performance of yajna, sacrifice, will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief. So here, therefore, he is saying this cooperation between the demigods and the living entities, particularly the human beings, is that you do this and you offer these sacrifices, and there is cooperation, and as a result things keep moving forward. And here Prabhupada is therefore writing, since the demigods automatically become very pleased with the performance of the sacrifice, they bestow benedictions upon the executors of yajna. So up to that we have now covered from the Bhagavad Gita. See, Bhagavatam is basically application of Bhagavad Gita. If you really see, Bhagavad Gita are instructions by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but Bhagavatam, you actually see how these principles are applied by devotees of the Lord, those who really follow these instructions, how they apply in their life, and as a result, how the real history. See, sometimes we say, no, okay, all this is said in Bhagavad Gita, but if I do that, how do I know I will get to that, whatever is said here? Right? Krishna is saying, right, Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Charanam Raja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhya Moksheshami Ma Suchaha. Okay, that is fine, it is said there, but how do I know? So therefore in Bhagavatam you will actually see the true devotees, the pure devotees, they follow this instruction, and in their life that result what Krishna is saying is attained. So Bhagavatam is basically the application of Bhagavad Gita for all of us to clearly see the history of, yes, you see Bhagavad Gita, it has said this, but I don't have to doubt it, because the proof of that particular principle is actually been seen in the life of so and so in which is already very detailed in Bhagavatam, and this particular devotee followed these principles and therefore he got the results what has been mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. So this is very important. So we can see that correlation very nicely here. And Prabhupada is writing, therefore when one pours water on the root of a tree, the branches, the twigs, the flowers and leaves are all satisfied. Therefore, when we perform this yajna, then Vishnu is satisfied. We always, again, we understand, right? Vishnu is the ultimate benefactor of all these yajnas. So if he is satisfied, naturally the demigods who are part and parcel of Vishnu is satisfied. And if the demigods are satisfied, automatically all the other living entities are satisfied, and all the benefits are also bestowed upon the performer. Therefore, one need not specifically try to please every different aspects of which is giving us many benefits. Actually, it is mentioned there are we are indebted to so many people. We are indebted to the Lord, we are indebted to the demigod, we are indebted to the devatas, we are indebted to the spiritual master, we are indebted to, like this there are many indebtedness that we have. And therefore, when the Lord is satisfied, everybody is satisfied. This is very important. Of course, when we come to the spiritual master, in fact, if we can say the spiritual master is satisfied, the Lord is satisfied. So there are things like that. But the point is, in this particular thing, when the Lord is satisfied, all the living entities are satisfied. There are many such examples where at one point in time, the Pandavas, they were exiled, and then they had one Akshaya Patra. So there, so that Akshaya Patra will produce whatever the needs of the Pandavas are there for food. Just a second. So here, so Draupadi actually will, every day, okay, as soon as whatever requirements are there, she will say, okay, today I want these items. There are so many people, because sometimes there are people who will come and meet the Pandavas. There will be so many Rishi Munis, so many people will be there. It is not like because they are in exile, they are still the aristocratic people, right? There are many visitors to them. Things will happen like that. So when they are in that kind of a thing, so she, where is the resources? Because they are in forest, but therefore not much of in a city they won't get everything. But because of the Akshaya Patra, all she has to do is she will have to make indicate the requirement, and then the Akshaya Patra will provide those food items, prasadam. And they used to serve all these people. So one such day, the similar thing, whatever number of people were there, Draupadi requested and prasadam came. Everybody is satisfied and it is done. The prasadam is done and it is over. One of the Akshaya Patra's thing is, once you do this and then I think you turn it around and keep it For that day it is over. It will not again produce additional prasadam. So then there is one Muni, I think Durvasa Muni. So he came after all this is over. And suddenly he came with so many people. That means his followers, I think he was a king at that time, something like that. So he came and with so many of his soldiers now and says, now I want to take prasadam. I want prasadam, please give. And how can you deny? Therefore, they were in a kind of uncomfortable situation. How can they provide when they don't have the facility? But it is also part of the dharma that when a guest comes, you have to really take care of the guest. Otherwise, it becomes counterproductive. That you get a lot of negative benefits, negative impact because of denying guests prasadam. Today's days are different. People don't even care about all these things, But in those times, these are very important things. Aditi, it is like the Aditi, the guest is very, very important, like to be treated like God. So she is trying to think what to do. At that time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, just casually comes there and says, "What is the problem?" They say, "No, see, this Muni has come with so many soldiers, thousands of them. Now I don't know how I can prepare because we don't have any ingredients, nothing at our hand. How do we do this? It will become an offense if we don't feed them." So Krishna smiles and says, "Okay, take that vessel. Let's see if there is something there." She says, "No, it is all done. It is cleaned and kept. There is nothing there. We can't get anything. No, just take it out. Let me see." So he says, he carefully see if there is something stuck into that one. So she says, and then she finds one small, one grain of rice stuck to the vessel. He says, "Just give that to me." So she gives that one grain to the Lord, and the Lord takes that grain and honors it. And as soon as he eats that one grain, he feels satisfied, and when he feels satisfied, all of the living entities feel satisfied. And therefore this Muni, or at that time he was a king, I think. So he, along with all his followers, they all suddenly feel their stomach. They had gone to take bath. We will finish our bath and come, and then we will take prasadam. They are thinking like that, and they are gone. And suddenly they are feeling their stomach is so full that now they are suddenly getting their fear. "Oh Baba, what do I do? Now we have told these people that we are coming for prasad, and if we don't go now, that becomes an offense. If we don't honor the prasadam that they have cooked, then it becomes an offense on our part." So he actually wanted to put trouble to the Pandavas. Now he is in trouble because he cannot eat, because he is feeling so much full up to this. Not only he, the entire soldiers, whoever he had brought along with him, everybody is feeling so satisfied and so full that they can't even take one more grain of rice. So he is now afraid, if I don't eat the prasadam there, it becomes an offense. So he runs away from there with the soldiers. So that way they are saved. Why I said this pastime is, it is mentioned, if the Lord is satisfied, then every living entity, all the devatas, everything else is automatically satisfied. That is what Prabhupada is writing, and we are seeing that here. If one simply satisfied Lord Vishnu by the performance of yajna, one satisfies all the demigods automatically. In turn, the demigods offer their benediction to such a devotee. A pure devotee, therefore, does not ask benediction directly from the demigods. So, now coming to these pure devotees. So, the material devotees, what they do is they go and ask for some benediction. The devatas give them. So, that is all classified as karma kanda. But Krishna says, actually all of these benefits are coming from me only. So there is it is only the less intelligent people worship these demigods. So while sometimes the devatas, sometimes the pure devotees perform these yajnas, but they are performing it purely for the satisfaction of the Lord, not for the demigods at all. And they don't ask for any benedictions. In fact, pure devotees never ask for any material benedictions. Pure devotees only ask for devotional service from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They don't ask for anything more. So therefore, Prabhupada is writing, in turn, the demigods offer their benediction to such a devotee. A pure devotee, therefore, does not ask benedictions directly from the demigod. His only business is to serve the Personality of Godhead. Thus, he is never in need of those things supplied by the demigod. So this is the pure devotee's position. While he may sometimes perform these yajnas, that yajna as only as a something to satisfy Lord Vishnu. Nothing more that, okay, by performing this yajna, I will get this benefit. They never think like this. They never ask for the such benefits from the demigods also. And they, even to the Lord, they don't ask, okay, you give me, I have done this yajna, I will directly ask you, I will not ask the demigods, but I will ask you directly, can you give me this material favor? The pure devotees are never interested in any such favors at all. So this is the purport written by Srila Prabhupada, and of the 4 verses, only this has the purport. Therefore, I decided to discuss this yajna portion of it. Then finally, with great respect, the original King Prithu offered all kinds of rewards to the Brahmanas present at the sacrifice. Since all these Brahmanas were very much satisfied, they gave their heartfelt blessings to the king. This is natural. So many people had come there, and the king, after taking bath, he actually comes back and gives a lot of dana. So one of the important roles or responsibility of a grahastha is to actually offer charity to the devotees and the brahmanas and all the living entities. This is very important, which he is doing. And the last one, where this is important in one sense, that it mentions all the great sages and brahmanas said, "O mighty king, by your invitation, all classes of living entities have attended this assembly. They have come from Pitruloka and the heavenly planets, and great sages as well as common men have attended this meeting. Now all of them are very much satisfied by your dealings and your charity towards them." So here the point that we are noting is, in those days when all these yajnas are performed, the demigods personally appear there. So here it is mentioned, even the Pitru, sometimes we also, right, we perform tarpana and all these things. So that means it is offered to the great forefathers. But here, and those forefathers reside in a place called Pitruloka. Those who are actually highly, elevated, in their previous lives, they actually go to the Pitruloka. If they are not at fully in liberated stage, but they are having so much of the spiritual benefit, punya karma, all that, they go to the Pitruloka. So there it is mentioned, those people from the Pitruloka also come. Why? Lord Vishnu himself comes here. If you see, he was Lord Vishnu himself, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and all the other devatas, they personally came, and we also saw some chapters where everyone is giving some gift to Prithu Maharaj. So in those assemblies, even the common man is there, and it is mentioned that in those days, when those ages, in those yugas, these demigods, when they come, they are visible to the eye of the common man also. So we are talking about today, we are saying, right, is there life elsewhere, UFOs, and are there, terrestrial beings and all that? There are. Thing is, in Kali Yuga, we are not able to see them. If you go to the internet, you will see thousands of stories of, some flying saucer coming and some beings coming. They say, but then the other NASA and other people deny, this is some other, phenomenon on earth only. This is some kind of illusion for them, and like that. They don't really accept these theories. But in reality, the devatas are there. There are other terrestrial beings, higher beings, lower beings. Many of them are there. But they also visit these planets. And in Kali Yuga, at least it is mentioned, they are not visible to our eyes. So maybe that is why we are not able to prove them conclusively that these beings are there. But in those days, we can see, when qualified people perform yajna and they really come to receive those yajnas, you can see Indra walking right in front of your eyes. The common man also could see that. It is not like he should be some great person to be able to see the Indra and Chandra. They can physically see with their eyes. There are many such pastimes, even in, if you see in our Jagannath Puri, there is one place where Indra, very desirous to take the prasadam, Mahaprasadam of Lord Jagannath, he personally came and he went to one shop and he took that prasadam, but he didn't have the INR or Indian currency possibly at that time. It's a pastime. So maybe he could have manufactured them. It is not difficult for him to produce one paper which is an INR thing, but he didn't do that possibly. That is a pastime. So he came and he took that prasad and he couldn't pay for it, and he started, I will go and get it, and he started moving, and this person understood that he is trying to cheat, and so he went after, running after him. So Indra also ran, and this fellow also ran, and finally he went to a spacecraft. Like there's one place, I think it is there, and I have not seen it, but it is mentioned, I have heard people say, there is one place from where actually Lord Indra was supposed to, his spacecraft was there, and he was supposed to take off from there. He goes up to that point, and this fellow goes up to somehow goes after Indra and catches him there. Then Indra says, okay, I don't have money, I am not from this planet, so I don't have your currency, whatever it is. So I will give you a benediction, tell me what you want. So that devotee said, Indra is in charge of rain, right? Varuna. Not Varuna, he is in charge of rain. Varuna is in charge of water. So Indra is responsible for the rain. We all know Krishna's pastime with Indra, where that Govardhan Leela, he showered, he brought the clouds, the devastation clouds, and made it pour on Govardhan Hill. We know that. So he is the what do you call, the controller of rain. So he said, what benediction you want? He says, okay, whenever I desire, I can have rain. So he says, yes, I will give it to you. He gives this benediction in exchange for the money that, in place of the money he should have given for the prasad, he gives this benediction to the devotee. So that devotee actually goes in, fine, he's taken, and then he goes into his shop back again, and then someone says, no, he told you, how do you know it is true? How do you know this is really true, that it's really Indra, he gave you this benediction? Then when he immediately thinks of rain, it actually rains inside his shop there. It's like that. So this is all true. So the point is, these personalities, great personalities, visited the place where such yajnas happened personally. And today maybe we are not able to see that. But these are not fairy tales. These are real true things which had happened. Also, it is history, not that it is a thing. But it is also predicted in Kali Yuga, they will not come personally. We will not be able to see them. So I end here. If there are any questions, comments, welcome. Hare Krishna. Okay, so if there are no questions,
thank you very much,
comments,
Prabhuji.
thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Dandavat.
Hare Krishna,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So thank you very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you, Prabhu. We can close down.